How much money do you have to spend to have a revealing system? Arjan in Holland asks this very question, and he writes, I have a reasonable revealing set. He's got golden ear Triton 2 loudspeakers, a Hegel amp and DAC, and he's playing his music directly from a NAS to the DAC using lossless formats. He said, so I find it different to hear changes in cables or even the difference between MP3 and 320 kilobyte lossless files. And so there's nothing wrong with my hearing. But audiophiles often speak in superlative terms. Yeah, that is true. And huge differences when they make changes in their stereo system, and that is not my experience. For the record, I don't argue about differences that I hear in amps or speakers. That's a clear case, but I'm referring to cables and musical formats. Well, if you go to my setup here in Music Room 1, listening to cables and various music formats, there's a pretty clear difference. So we could establish the fact that my system is more revealing than yours. And I will also preface my comments with a little bit about your speakers. Now, Sandy Gross is a good friend of mine. He makes the golden ear speakers, and we use those very speakers at Axpona in Chicago. And while I like the golden ear speakers a lot, they aren't what I would refer to as a revealing speaker. So there are some speakers who are ultra revealing, and there are other speakers that are very much on the opposite edge. And then somewhere in between are speakers that have a good amount of reveal and a good amount of forgiveness for various types of music. And I would say that the golden ears lean towards the forgiveness aspect, meaning that, and that's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing at all, because what that means is that more of your music collection is going to be enjoyable without having to worry about how it sounds, that, oh my goodness, this is a little bit harsh or bright or whatever. So, I mean, that's the upside and the downside to having revealing speakers. They reveal all the good and all the bad, and your speakers are not as revealing as mine and as others are in the marketplace. The next thing I will say about that question, and it's a great question, it's the downside to having speakers that don't have this great reveal is that the highs and the lows, and I don't mean frequency-wise, I mean the ecstasy and agony came into my head, and I don't know why, it's probably some old movie, but the glory of when something is great on a revealing system, it's really great. I mean, it's like, whoa! And when something's bad, it's like, whoa! So the extremes in how you hear things are far greater than the extremes are when you have a more forgiving loudspeaker and system. I hope that kind of makes sense. So that's sort of what you're giving up. You know, you get into a car whose whole reason for being is it's a damned hot rod. You know, when you get in, that sucker's going to nail you back against the seat and slow, you know, and brake real hard and corner great, but it may not be the most comfortable car on the planet. So there's always baggage, there's always good and bad things about every aspect of what we do, because as the reveal gets greater, then so too do the highs and the lows of what we hear and sense. So, to the original question, what do you have to pay? Well, if your goal would be to have this great revealing system, you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. Most of it is in terms of speaker choices. Speakers, I think, are the biggest determining factor in how revealing a system is. If you find something that, oh gosh, our engineer Darren Meyer's loudspeakers, the Harbeths, they're not cheap. I mean, they're a couple of grand for a pair, and they're small, but they are very, very revealing speakers. Very flat, very revealing. They need a subwoofer, all that stuff, but they're very revealing. And then there are very low-cost speakers who make great sound. ELACs, for example, extremely low cost, but they sound great. They don't have a great deal of reveal, but they do sound great. So if you pay attention to speakers, and when you're making your speaker choice, if that's what you want, you can get great reveal for not a lot of money. You just have to pay attention to that aspect. Talk to your dealer, talk to us, we can help figure out something for you. But I think it's down to the speakers, because your electronics will certainly display revealing characteristics of music and cables. And I think that kind of covers it. Okay.